All right, what's going on? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, just waiting for us to get started here. Look like we're going. All right. Hey, thank you so much for joining in. My name is Will Johnson. UniteAmericaFirst.com is the website. UniteAmericaFirst.com. Do me a favor, share this video if you don't mind. I would greatly appreciate it. It would mean a lot if you share this video. All right, and I do have some stuff to share with you as usual. I do have some stuff to share with you. Some remarkable stuff, really. Well, at least it should be. Or everybody should be like, man, this is really happening. This actually happened. This actually happened. And I'm going to share this with you tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, I'm not going to waste any time really getting into talking too much about it, but let me just say this before I go. You know, they've been hiding information from all of us, and they don't want any of us to see the information that they've been hiding. And what brought it to the realization for me is when they raided President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. And when the first time I heard about it, or when it first happened, I'm thinking, okay, why would they raid his home when they've already been there before? And President Trump, when they first showed up the first time, and President Trump was saying, take whatever you need. That's the words he said. Take whatever you want. Take it. Take it. Just take whatever. Whatever you want, take it. He straight up told them, take it. That's the first time they showed up. Second time they showed up because they wanted to do a political stunt, if you ask me. And it's not just that. They raided President Trump's Mar-a-Lago home because they were looking for documentation that would expose them about the 2016 election. See, President Trump, when he was in office, he had access to all of these documents. He could see who did what. And they went after him constantly. And you would see, this is how I would think. Because President Trump, he could have brought the hammer down on the FBI when he was in office. He could have. He could have brought the hammer down on him. But he didn't do that for some reason. Maybe he was thinking that, like, look, I'm going to give you some leniency here. Right? I'm going to give you some leniency. Because I saw President do it a number of times. President Trump was going to do leniency with DACA. Y'all remember that? A lot of Republicans, maybe some of you, got upset with President Trump because he was saying, look, we have this issue with DACA. Let's address the issue. Well, Nancy Pelosi and Shucky Ducky Schumer didn't want to do it because they didn't want to give President Trump any credit for actually fixing the problem. So they prolonged it. They pushed it off. Another thing, you know, President Trump, he did a certain thing, what I can't really talk about here on the socialist media platforms. I'm on Rumble and Getter right now, but I'm on some of these other socialist media platforms, really can't talk about it. But he actually did something, put something in place, and a lot of people got upset with him because the Democrats took it and ran with it. And millions of people later affected by what they did, right? Well, President Trump did it because he wanted people to have an option based on the information that he was receiving. But a lot of people can't get past that. And I think a lot of that has to do with lack of information. But anyways, so we have Hunter Biden, right? Which everyone is aware of now. Hunter Biden, where he's had these dealings with foreign countries. And Joe Biden, apparently documents that are coming out, Joe Biden knew all about it based on these documents that came from the FBI because of whistleblowers. See, there are some good men and women still in the FBI, and I support them wholeheartedly. And we need more of them to stand up. We know you're there. A lot of them are just too scared. They're too scared because they see how high the corruption goes with inside the FBI. So if you ask me, not to be mean or anything, but they're cowering down to these elitists in the FBI and not doing the right thing. But the ones that are doing the right thing, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing the right thing. Listen to this, because this is something I'm surprised that the FBI hasn't gone to Facebook and Twitter and Google again, telling them not to allow anyone to talk about this story, because this story is damaging to the Democrat Party. Well, maybe because it's not a presidential election year is the reason why they're allowing it to go. You think that could possibly be it? I don't know. You tell me. But listen to what they say here about Joe Biden, the big guy, and Hunter.
Hunter Biden and Jim Biden, the entire Biden crime family, as I would call it, they've been influence peddling for a decade. And Hunter Biden's committed serious crimes. As you mentioned, 150 suspicious activity reports. Those are the most severe bank violations. This is when the bank notifies the federal government that we're pretty confident our client has committed a crime. He's had multiple banks file 150 suspicious activity reports saying that we believe each instance was another act of a crime. But
did y'all hear that? 150. 150. Now, sometimes when I travel out of state and I go and if I have a rental car or if I go and make a purchase of something when I'm out of state, they'll flag my card and won't even allow me to use it until I call the bank, right? Until I call them. But here it is that he's been flagged for 150 times. And these are when the banks, like he just said, these are when the banks notify the FBI of fraudulent activity. There's something going on here. 150 times. So what did they do when they got it on the 50th time or the 90th or the 120th? 150 times and the FBI looks the other way? Who do you think the FBI works for? The American people or the DNC?
The FBI did nothing about it. And Timothy Tebow can resign from the FBI. He can refuse to answer our questions now. But in January, after the midterms, we're hopefully going to be in the majority. I will have a gavel. I will have subpoena power. Jim Jordan will have subpoena power in the Judiciary Committee. And Tim Tebow is going to be a person of great interest for both the Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Look, we need to hold people accountable in the FBI for wrongdoing. We need to set an example. Then we need to reform the FBI and move forward. But
now, okay, you hear everything that he's saying. I like what he's saying. I have one problem with it, though. I have one major problem with everything he is saying. Do you know what that is? Does anybody know what that is? Because I like what he's saying. The problem is that, you know, if I'm sitting here sharing with you what he's saying, that these Democrats are listening in on it as well. They're watching it. They're hearing what he's saying. Meaning that if the Republicans get the House and the Senate back, that they are going to look and they're going to investigate and they're going to find the truth with all this corruption. So if he's sitting there saying it, what do you think the Democrats will do to prevent the truth from coming out? You understand?
From priority for the Oversight Committee, look, we're investigating Hunter Biden because we believe he's a national security threat, and we fear that he's compromised Joe Biden. So a lot of the bad policies, the energy policies, the foreign policies that Joe Biden has enacted that put America last, we believe this was done because he's compromised because of his family's shady business dealings with our adversaries.
Failing shady business dealings. Shady. All of them been shady. You know what? What's really amazing to me, though, is that you have the entire liberal media. The entire liberal media look the other way. Look the other way. You know how much? So Fox News, you know, I watch Fox News every now and then because, I mean, they have Tucker on there. And there's some other ones on there that are pretty good. And like the one I just played. Right? There's some really good ones on the Fox News. Right? And there's some I have my reservations about. But anyways, I want to share one with you with Fox News because, you know, Joe Biden, he goes on the Communist News Network and he's saying, well, my son was a crackhead. He was a crack addict. He didn't say it just like that. I'm adding all that in there. But my son's a crackhead. He's a crack addict. You have to give him some leniency. You know, he's getting help. He seeks help. He's not a crackhead anymore. Right? But all of this stuff that he was doing was before he was a known crackhead, and he was doing it after he was a crackhead. You remember when he was selling these paintings, remember they said he made up to like a $500,000 in, you know, just selling these terrible looking paintings. And they're questioning like, well, who purchased those paintings? Did those paintings get purchased by China? Who's doing it? And one of the things also that he said was we need to investigate because if this was a sour deal and they did this this deal by we're selling paintings. There's something there. There's some corruption going on. Listen to this.
I'm proud of my son. This is a kid who got, not a kid, he's a grown man. He got hooked on, like cocaine. Many families have had happen, hooked on drugs. He's overcome that.
President Biden got just one question about his embattled son in a recent interview, and critics say it's just the latest example of the media's weak coverage of Hunter Biden. This, despite revelations the FBI believes there's enough evidence to charge him with tax and gun crime. Major network coverage of Hunter Biden in the last 7 days, 0, 0, 0. So that's like consistent across the board. And then Phil.
See, that's exactly what I was talking about right there. Look at that. CBS, NBC, ABC. And they don't have MSDNC on there, but I don't even think MSDNC talked about it, or the Communist News Network. But that number, 0, look, 0
of NBC and Jeff Zucker, formerly of CNN.
Okay, let me stop it there. 0 hours and 0 minutes that they even talked about it. So I'm wondering, did the FBI go to them and say, "Hey, don't talk about this. Don't talk about the Hunter Biden at all. Don't talk about it." Now, I know last week they mentioned it, right? They mentioned it because they mentioned about the taxes and they mentioned about the gun charge. But that's all they did. And it was less than 2 minutes. They mentioned it and they moved on talking about wokeness again and how they can get rid of President Trump. That's what this is all about.
That's like consistent across the board. And then Phil Griffin of NBC and Jeff Zucker, formerly of CNN, did some interviews this weekend, or not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. And they were asked about this. And let's take a listen to what Phil Griffin said.
He was never arrested. The Justice Department was looking into it, never reported it until he is. He's the son of a candidate. I don't think it's a main story.
It's a main story, but it's not a story that we really want to address on our socialist communist networks. It's not something we want to talk about. The reason why they don't talk about it is because demons will protect demons. That's the reason why. See, I don't think anybody else is saying that. And that's probably part of the reason why they're constantly attacking me, because I'm bringing it to the realization of what we're seeing, this spiritual battle. Demons will protect demons, and it is a spiritual battle what we're seeing. I think we're well and beyond above just the flesh now. Right? Because a lot of people can't see past their flesh. But what we're seeing is this demonic spirit that's taken over the minds of people, which I constantly say, they're lying, right? They're saying that there's no story there. Well, let me remind you.
Russia.
You remember there was a made up fraudulent story. No one was convicted of anything. No one was arrested. President Trump wasn't arrested. None of that, right?
Russia.
But they ran that story 24/7 on their communist networks.
Until that happens.
His network subjected this country to years of Russiagate reporting, and before there were any arrests in connection with that case. And that was all based on the Steele dossier, which, as we know, was bogus. It was junk. Whereas with Hunter, this is a real story. The hard drive was real. The charges he's facing are real, and the national security implications for our country are real as well. So it's for the media to ignore it before the election was a complete dereliction of duty, and we're all paying the price.
There seemed to be some regret in that conversation by some of them too, but that's hindsight, right? That's in the.
Yeah, well, some of them are saying, well, you know what, we did that in the past. We admitted that, about the Hunter Biden, how they didn't talk about it, and the only reason why the liberal media first started talking about it, the last week or so, is because it came out that what Mark Zuckerberg said. All of that came to about because of Mark Zuckerberg going on Joe Rogan saying that the FBI deliberately came to them asking them not to talk about the Hunter Biden laptop when it was 100% true. It wasn't fraudulent like this other stuff that they've been pushing on everybody. All this other stuff has been 100% fraudulent. Okay, let me ask y'all a question. When President Trump shows up to an event, what is the reaction of the crowd? I mean, just asking the question. President Trump, Melania Trump, when they show up to an event, when there's thousands and thousands of people, and President Trump is not speaking or anything, he's just showing up and waving at people, what's the reaction like? Anybody? Well, here's where Jill Biden, and apparently Jill Biden went to a football game, and I guess Jill Biden, she was doing a coin toss. Well, while she's doing a coin toss, I want y'all to listen to the thousands of people as they respond to Jill Biden and Joe Biden at the football game. Let's go, Brandon. I mean, you hear that? The whole stadium booing the Bidens. Booing them. And you know what it is? It's because America, the people in America, y'all are waking up. You get it. All of you watching, except for if there are any trolls on here, you get it. And now notice, I guess Facebook has been keeping the trolls from seeing my page here lately. Maybe that's so. I don't know, but, maybe so. Because I noticed there hadn't been too many trolls on my page. And I'm pretty sure every now and then one to pop up on there. They can't help it. I even have trolls that will follow my page because they're waiting for Will Johnson to say something. Oh, look what he said. Look what he said. We got him. We got him. Just like they did with Kanye West. Right? Now, I never, ever condone any violence or anything, and I'm not saying Kanye West did. I never even, expressed being hateful towards a particular nationality. And I'm not saying that Kanye West did, right? I'm not saying. Well, I know what the problem is because he says something that some people find to be, truthful, and some people find to dislike. And what Kanye West, to my understanding, what he was saying was that a lot of them are big bankers, which that is no secret. I don't think is that a secret? Or is it that we're not supposed to talk about it? And I think if what followed behind that was some of the stuff that he may have, alluded to. But anyways, the liberal media and all of the left, they ran with what Kanye West was saying and saying it was anti-Semitic. And then it went to the extent to where J.P. Morgan took his bank account. And even J.P. Morgan, according to Kanye West, is telling Candace Owens not to associate with Kanye West. So I'm guessing maybe she has a bank account as well with J.P. Morgan. And they're basically threatening her that, hey, if you continue to have any kind of relationship with Kanye West, we're going to shut down your bank account as well. I'm like, really? Really? Is this the kind of country we become? Listen to what Kanye West says about his bank account.
You know what I'm saying? JP Morgan, I put $140 million into JP Morgan, and they treated me like shit. So if JP Morgan Chase is treating me like that, how they treating the rest of y'all?
That's outrageous, yeah. And this murderers with Chase accounts. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I am outraged. Mm-hmm. By the time people they want to calm it down.
Because no matter what, you didn't break no law.
I didn't break a law.
No matter
I didn't
what,
break a law.
The bank shouldn't be a judge or jury on anything that's going on. But
this it's like a social contract. Candace Owens has a word for it. I'm forgetting it. But it's basically like they told Candace Owens she couldn't hang out with me.
They told Candace Owens that they can't hang out with Kanye. And then, of course, I'm pretty sure y'all have heard about PayPal. PayPal said that if they find out that you have any comments that we disagree with, basically, we're not only going to, keep you from your account, we will fine you $2,500. And it's for every instance, for every single one. So if you have, 10 grand in the bank, right? And they find you 4 times, that's 10 grand gone right there. Oh, you said it this one time, and you said it this one time, and you said it this one time. We didn't like it. And this other time, 10 grand right there out of your bank account. And a lot of people use PayPal for their merchandise, for selling stuff. And for PayPal to sit there and say that, well, simply because you say something we don't like, we'll shut you down. J.P. Morgan just did the same thing to Kanye West because he said something they didn't like. The last time I looked, The United States of America is still a constitutional republic, meaning that we have the First Amendment right. Everybody that's watching right now, you have the utmost privilege. You have the utmost right, more than a privilege. You have the right to say something about Will Johnson that Will Johnson doesn't like. And guess what I can do about it? Absolutely nothing. And I will support you in being able to say something that I don't like. See, that's who I am. See, I believe what the U.S. Constitution says, talking about free speech. You can say stuff that I don't like. And guess what? If I don't like it, Will Johnson just have to get over it. Right? I just have to get over it. You can say whatever you want about me that I don't like. I just have to get over it. But see, it's completely different when it comes to the actual fascists. It's completely different when it comes to the actual tyrants. Tyrants. Yeah. It's completely different when it comes to them. See, these tyrants on the left, they believe that they should be able to shut us down because we said something they don't like, because we may have hurt their feelings, or because how white liberals constantly do. Oh my goodness, Kanye West says something about Jewish people. We can use this against him because he's a Trump supporter, and we can make the Jewish people believe that we're supporting them. Because we need to get them to forget about Rashida Tlaib. We need to get them to forget about Ilhan Omar. We need to get them to forget about all of the anti-Semitic, hateful, despicable things that they have said about Israel and the Jewish people. And you remember, I never forget it, because Nancy Pelosi and the rest of the Democrats had to draw up a form to get Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar and other demonic Democrats to sign this form saying that they will no longer talk bad about Israel and the Jewish people. They were actually calling for the removal, the destruction of Israel. But they're still there. People don't have, it's like they don't have anything to say about them. It's just perfectly fine for them. And you know, just because they signed a paper, they haven't changed their views on Israel. They haven't changed their views on the Jewish people. They're still saying that Israeli is just occupying the land. And it's not true. It's not true at all. Even in the Quran, not that I've read the Quran, but I've read this one section in the Quran. Even the Quran have said that the land is for the chosen people, which are the Israelis. It says it in the Quran. You can't make it up. The Holy Bible says that land belongs to the Jewish people. It's like that's the one thing that you can say the Quran and the Holy Bible has in common. It says this land is for the chosen people, the Israelis. It straight up says it. But for some reason, they disregard it, just like the Democrats disregard the U.S. Constitution. And there's probably people listening to me saying this right now and don't like it. There's one particular person, I'm not going to say any names or anything. One particular person, he constantly send me stuff that had talking about Israel, and they think that they can send me stuff talking about, how some of the Jewish people have treated black people. Like all of a sudden, I'm going to hate Israel. It's not going to happen. I believe what God's word says. And we're talking about people. No one is perfect. No one is perfect. Not a single person. Okay, let me get into some other news. Let's talk about the economy. And the economy is not only affecting, everybody. I mean, it's affecting Will Johnson too. It's affecting you. It's affecting everybody. Right. So when President Trump was in office, and I would do these broadcasts, and I would ask people, say, you know what, I'm getting ready to go on a trip. And if y'all notice, I haven't been going on trips here lately. And even though there's some trips that I would like to go to, but I haven't been going because I've noticed something. I've noticed some changes was happening with our economy. There's that uncertainty. Right. People are being more conservative. They're being reserved about how they spend their money. And I don't blame you. Rightfully so. I completely understand. Right. I completely understand. That's the reason why I haven't been saying, hey, I'm going to go on this trip. Can you support me? Right. I would ask that all the time because I wouldn't be able to go to these trips unless people actually support me. So I've been trying to go to events, different events throughout the state of Texas. That's pretty close. I've been trying to do a lot more of that. Right, because I can at least drive and, pay the gas and do that and come back. But getting on the airplane, going someplace, probably a hotel, et cetera, it becomes pretty expensive, and I can't afford to do it. And people that have been, supporting me in the past, it's not the same because of the economy that we're in. And the reason why I bring that up is because of Joe Brandon. Joe Brandon's view and idea of the U.S. economy is completely exactly what the World Economic Forum wants. He's literally lying. And how many of y'all seen this video? He's in there eating ice cream again, right? Eating ice cream. Because, and probably the news media, typically they'll ask him, well, what's your favorite ice cream? How many times a week do you have ice cream? Do you want more? Do you want another scoop? All these softball questions. But this reporter asked Joe Biden about the stabilization or the strength of the U.S. dollar. What he says about America should be extremely alarming to every single person in this country. But the stupid people on the left, they don't hear it. They don't get it. They never shared this information. Listen to what he says.
Just one more economic one. Are you concerned about the strength of the dollar right now?
I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar.
You hear that? He says, I'm not concerned about the strength of the dollar. You hear him? He's not concerned about the strength of the American dollar.
I'm concerned about the rest of the world.
But he's concerned about the rest of the world. So the United States of America, he's basically saying, screw you. Screw you. Food prices up. Gas prices are up. The border is wide open. We're having crime throughout the country. And that's because prices are going up. And he says he's not concerned about America. He's more concerned about the rest of the world while they destroy America.
That makes sense? Yes. Our economy is strong as hell. The internal. Inflation is worldwide. It's worse off everywhere else than it is in the United States. So the problem is the lack of economic growth and sound policy in other countries, not so much ours. And that's how it's world.
He's literally saying that our economy is strong. He's literally saying that the U.S. economy is strong. Where's this dude been? He's the reason why the economy is not. And again, this is another blatant lie by Joe Brandon trying to convince everyone that the economy is strong. If that was the case, then why would Joe Biden's approval rating be so high? And I'm kidding about the height. Listen to this.
Well, more bad news for President Biden this morning. A new Fox News poll shows that if the election were to happen today, only 33% of voters would vote for President Biden, while 54% say that they would vote for someone else.
For someone else. They were like, we don't care who it is, just get him out. Right? And now, if you ask me, that 33% that they're showing on there, the 33%, it's like the magic number for them. Now, there's a reason why I think they're putting on 33%. And a lot of you conspiracy theories out there know exactly what I'm talking about. There is a 33%. And I'm not going to get into detail here about it, but I do know. That's all I'm going to say. Right? That 33%, because I noticed that 33% keeps popping up for Joe Biden. And you know the reason why they do the 33%? Because they're putting out a signal for the people who knows what that means. People are being manipulated. I'm telling y'all, for people that don't know, you will never know. It's crazy what they're doing. It's crazy. And I don't even believe it. I think his actual number is probably like 13%. And the only reason why I say it's 13% because you have diehard stupid people on the left that will think Joe Brandon is doing a fantastic job, right? Because the reason being is because he went out there and he demonized half the country, calling MAGA Republicans domestic terrorists. He demonized white people. He demonized anyone to support President Trump. He demonized parents that want to protect their children. So you have that 13%, which I actually believe that it is, that love him. He's all for transgenderism, everything that is about wokeism. You have that 13% that's all about wokeism. See, I don't believe that every single Democrat out there is for 100% of this wokeism, because if you ask Democrats about how they're sexualizing children, they'll say they don't support it. But the problem is they still go vote for it. That's the problem. Here's another one that I want to share with you. because you know they passed this bill that supposedly helped the economy, but is it helping?
Yeah, I'm just curious, and a lot of Americans are curious, when the so-called Inflation Reduction Act will really start to bring down inflation.
When is it going to bring it down, right? Right? Because they were all like, yeah, this is such a great achievement. Yay, yay, yay. And you have economists, professional economists, saying this time next year is going to be a lot worse than it is this year. A lot worse. But listen to her response.
So the many parts of the bill will start to take effect next year. For example, there are tax credits for energy to help people weatherize their homes and also bring down other forms of energy costs. So we are focused on helping to make that transition to clean energy in a way that brings down energy costs.
So when are people going to start seeing it, right? She's saying next year. But all of the professional economists, the information that I'm seeing, they're all saying that it's going to be a lot worse next year. And, you know, if you ask me, there's this thing right now where Joe Brandon is constantly saying that the United States of America is going to be worse off with the economy. Let me break it down real quick, because I was talking to my producer earlier, and we was on a radio podcast, and she brought this point up, that the Democrats, they created all this chaos. They created the situation that we're seeing in the United States of America. And then we're going to go into the midterm elections. And Joe Brandon, along with all of these demonic Democrats on the left right now, they're saying this. They're saying that if the Republicans win the midterm election, they're saying that the economy is going to get worse because of the Republicans. What? They're saying that the gas prices are going to go through the roof because of the Republicans. And let me remind you, Joe Biden and the Democrats did this to the economy. The Republicans under President Trump, the economy was booming. There was the inflation was nothing compared to this. We weren't even a recession. The recession wasn't even anywhere in sight. More people were working because of his policies. So it's complete opposite. And now their message is to tell everybody, hey, if you vote these Republicans in, it only means that the economy is going to get worse. So all of the stuff that the Democrats are doing today to cause the economy to collapse because of the World Economic Forum, which they support, when it comes times when the Republicans win the House and the Senate back and everything is crumbling because of what the Democrats are doing today, they're going to come out and say, see, we told you the economy was going to get bad because if the Republicans win. Y'all hear this? But the stuff that they're doing right now is tearing the country down. The stuff they're doing right now is hurting the country. Here's another great example.
Turning now to the battle for Congress with the midterms fast approaching. A new CBS poll out today shows Republicans are still favored to capture the House with an estimated 224-seat majority. Democrats had been narrowing the gap, but that momentum has stalled. CBS's Deborah Alfarone is in Washington tonight with those details. Good evening, Deborah.
Good evening, Jerika. And no matter your income, inflation is inescapable, and it could be a deciding factor for the midterm elections.
There's a lot in here that lowers the everyday cost for middle-class families.
President Biden is trying to convince voters his big legislative win, the Inflation Reduction Act, will bring prices down. But a new CBS News Battleground Tracker poll shows 65% of registered voters believe the economy is getting worse, and 68% of registered voters say the Biden administration could be doing more.
This is a top concern for all voters.
It's also a top concern for the president.
On Face the Nation, Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said curbing inflation is the president's top economic priority.
So it's a very clear choice, a very clear difference in approaches here right now on Capitol Hill and among office holders, where the focus for Democrats, the focus for the president, is to cut that cost of living and to cut the pressure, get people more breathing room at a time where inflation remains a major concern.
Well, you know what? When they cut the XL pipeline, that was squeezing people to death. They don't, and it's like they don't understand that they're the ones that caused this problem. They're the ones that did this. And like I'm constantly saying, if they don't cause a crisis, right? They either cause a crisis or they don't cause a crisis. But either way, if there's a crisis that take place, they want to swoop in like they're here to save the day. And it's primarily when they do create the crisis.
Another top concern for voters, gas prices. The new poll found 63% of people said prices are going up, compared to 16% in August. Republicans are pouncing on the price at the pump and blaming Democrats.
And they should be pouncing on it. They should be pouncing. They should be pouncing on that. They should be pouncing on the gas. They should be pouncing on the border. They should be pouncing on the food prices. They should be pouncing on us sending endless amount of money to Ukraine. And whatever came about where Zelensky was saying he was demanding $5 billion a month from the United States of America. Did any of that pan out? Are we just paying it and they're not telling the American people? And of course, you have Karine Jean-Pierre saying that Biden is doing everything he can to bring the gas down. Well, he caused it to go up.
That's why he's worked so hard to get those gas prices down.
He worked hard to bring them down by depleting our reserves. He's doing it to deplete our reserves, and he's saying that he's bringing the gas prices down. That's what she's saying, that he's supposed to be bringing the gas prices down. Well, let me share this one with you, because I've constantly mentioned this. Under President Trump, everybody's 401k was looking it was looking a lot better. It was looking really good, actually. People 401k, people are happy about the 401k. Even these total leftists, they were happy with their 401k. When I was living in California, I remember the guys there, they're talking about their portfolio was like really good. And this was under President Trump. But now, what does your portfolio look like now?
Since President Biden took office, monthly savings have collapsed, falling 83%. The average 401k plan had over $135,000 at the start of this year. Today, those assets have shrunk on average to about $101,000. In other words, the average 401k plan is down about $34,000, more than 25% in less than 1 year.
Wow. Less than 1 year. And they have the nerve, the audacity to sit there and say that if the Republicans get their way, that we're going to see more inflation. We're going to see more high gas prices. No, not at all. They're lying to you. I can't understand why. You know, this is what I don't understand, is that you have these stupid people on the left. They seen what happened when they went to the gas pump, and they know who did it. You don't need a sticker saying Joe Biden did it. You know who did it. You know who caused the problem. The leftists, they caused this problem, but the problem is that people, they know who did this and they still support them. Well, maybe we need to give them a chance to fix it. No, it was already fixed. The Democrats, they want to tear down this country. They're not trying to build the United States of America up. They're trying to break it down. And the reason why they want to break it down, because they want us to incorporate into this one world global system. See, what a lot of people don't know, and I've been talking about this a lot here lately, the First World War, after the First World War took place, so many people died. They created this organization called the League of Nations. You hear that? The League of Nations. Sound like something in DC Comics, right? They actually created the League of Nations, but not all the nations want to get on board, and not all of them jumped in, right? So what happened, World War II came. World War II took place, and then after World War II, they created the United Nations. But even with the United Nations, not every country in the world is still like per se on board with the United Nations. No one is like really coming together. The United Nations don't have like supreme authority over our country. They don't have it. But Joe Biden, the Democrats, the Rhino Republicans, they all want to give our sovereignty away and hand the ruling of us over to the United Nations. You know how they can achieve that? A third world war. You understand? A third world war will usher that in. And that's exactly what they're pushing for right now. Why do you think they're constantly trying to poke this bear? Why do you think they're trying to do that? And again, all of this is pertaining to our economy. There's a reason why they're saying 65% of the people think it's a lot worse right now. Right? The last one I just showed you was on the Communist News Network. And here's one. What is this one on? This was on CBS, and it's like they all got the same memo. And the only reason why I think they're even talking about it this way, because they're trying to get the fire lit up under these Democrats. Like, oh my goodness, y'all need to wake up and realize that y'all gonna lose, right? Because what y'all have done to the country. And they never admit who did this. Who caused this? If you get in your vehicle and you drive down the street and you hit somebody and you just drive away, and they say, well, you know, or no, it's not even that. You get in your vehicle, you drive down and someone hits you, and then the cops come and the cop is talking to both of you, and you can see on the camera that you've been hit by the other person, and the police officer go, well, you know, the people around here are saying, we really don't know who's at fault here. We just know that your vehicle was hit. When you can clearly see who did the hitting. The Democrats are hitting the United States of America. They're hitting us. They're hitting us. Listen to this.
Oh, look at worsening views of the economy, Nate. Look at this. 2/3 of people say it is getting worse. And let me show you why. One of the ways people interact with the economy is gas prices, right? You're paying more. You're seeing those big signs up. Back in August, there was some optimism. Majority said, well, okay, they're going down. But look at this. Now, 63% say gas prices are going up in their area. So I asked people, okay, well, let's turn to politics here. Who do you blame for this? What's the reason? Well, look. There's more folks now who say that Democratic policies have harmed the economy than helped it. It's not the only...
Oh, you hear this? You hear this? You hear this? Let me take it back for you. Policies
have harmed the economy than...
I didn't go back far enough. Listen.
There's more folks now who say that Democratic policies have harmed the economy than helped it. It's not the only reason they see for this, but they're reasoning out of results, right? Yeah. They're feeling a pinch, parties in power, okay, must be doing something wrong.
Must be doing something wrong, right? Listen to this. You hear this? CBS. It's like, at some point, it's like they can't help it. You have to say who's doing this. And again, but I think the only reason why they're talking about it is kind of trying to light a fire. Because see, people, when you go to the polls, I'm just asking a question here. When you go to polls, I'm just curious. Are you going to go because of abortion? Are you going to go because of putting food on the table? Are you going to go because of putting gas in the vehicle? Are you going to go because of the crime? Are you going to go because of the open border? Are you going to go because we're sending an endless amount of money to other countries and not taking care of America first? Are you going to do this because of the policies? Are you going to do because of the policies of the Democrat Party? Are you going to go to the polls because of what the Democrats have done to you, the parent? Are you going to go because of abortion? Are you going to go because of wokeism? I mean, really, think about it. I mean, you know, me personally, I'm going because, and I'm going to vote based on what the Democrats have done to our nation. That's what I'm going for. Not wokeism. Stuff that we need to really, truly address. Not this wokeism.
And then by contrast, they think, well, Republican policies more likely.
You see that? They said Republican policies more likely, if I'm looking at this correctly, because it cuts off, will do better. And you know the reason why they're getting that is because of what was like under President Trump. I mean, come on. I mean, let's be for real here. Why are we doing this? I mean, the Democrats claim to be so smart, so intelligent, especially these progressive liberals. Oh my goodness. They believe they're the smartest people on the planet. And they believe this because they know because they have it in their mind. Well, we know what's best for you. Y'all have heard me say the progressive liberal left, they know what's best for all of us. They claim to be so smart, so intelligent, but yet we have this situation like this. And a lot of progressives are starting to wake up because, you know, I played the video with AOC. Y'all see how that panned out with AOC? Y'all saw that? I played it last week, how AOC was having a meeting, and then with that little, I guess, town hall that she was possibly doing, what have you, and her own progressives were angry with her because about to take us into World War III. People are starting to see it, but there's still a lot. They're 13%. They don't care. They're going to support the stupidity regardless. Let me share something with you from Tucker Carlson. I really do like Tucker. But listen to this, because this is the United States of America. You know, like I was mentioning just a second ago, how the United Nations, how some of these rhinos and Democrats want to hand over our sovereignty to the United Nations. Y'all just heard me talk about it, right? Listen to this report from Tucker.
So the European Union has not really worked out well for Europe. We'll know the details this winter when people are freezing. So naturally, the Biden administration wants to create something very much like that in North America, an EU-style government. The Mexican president, AMLO, says that Tony Blinken, our Secretary of State, just proposed that idea. Watch this.
I think that Mr. Blinken spoke about consolidating the region of North America, and we agree on that. We are also in favor of a unity of the entire American continent, like the way the first European community emerged and converted into the European Union. That's what we want.
So we're going to merge with Mexico in the middle of the most brutal drug war in its history. Mexico is effectively run by the cartels at this point, but we're going to merge with the cartels. Okay. No one noticed this, really. Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz noticed it. He sent a letter today to Tony Blinken asking, what is this? He joins us tonight to tell us what he's heard back. Congressman, thanks so much for noticing this and for asking what it means. What does it mean, and did you get an answer?
It means that the globalist left wants a homogenized North America because they don't think that much of the United States of America in the first place. I haven't gotten an answer, but it begs the question, why are we so friendly with Mexico anyway? They've cooked up more death in the Mexican mountains than any crazy mad scientist in Wuhan would have ever thought of. And it's hard to tell where the cartels end and the government of Mexico begins. They had a former president take a $100 million bribe from Sinaloa. They had a former defense chief function as the muscle for the cartel, one of their state-level attorneys general sentenced to 20 years in the United States of America. But while they're sleepwalking to a war with Russia, they are actually surrendering American sovereignty to Mexico, and Canada's not much better. I don't want my constituents having to live under the socialist tyrannical lockdowns enacted by Justin Trudeau Castro while their nephew's being poisoned by Mexican fentanyl, but that apparently is the globalist order that the Biden administration supports here as they give away our money and our chance of a brighter future overseas.
Of course.
Of course. Of course. And I told, I'm sitting there talking about it, how they're wanting to usher in this one world order. They're trying to bring it in. And, I haven't even really gotten into a deep dive even talking about this digital currency that they're pushing. And so many people, you don't have to send me any emails. I've already had them. You don't have to send me any messages on it. And I'm saying, well, no one knows the day or the hour. And I've never said that. Y'all never heard me say, December 12th, 2020 or 2011 or whatever. What was that movie? 2012, December 12th, 2012. Something like that. There's somebody, the world's going to come to an end, and people got in the uproar and stuff like that. And, you have people make movies. You've had people in the past get people drinking Kool-Aid, talking about the last day. They even give a day, and they even give an hour on it. But Will Johnson's never has. But I have talked about the different things that the Bible's talking about, the different events that's going to unfold, that's going to take place in our lifetime. And people used to send me messages saying, Will, that's not going to happen in our lifetime. It's going to be 60 years. It'll be a long time. I'll be out of here already. Well, guess what? They're pushing this digital currency. They're pushing it so much the mainstream media won't even talk about it. The mainstream media don't want you to even know about it. And the reason why I think the mainstream media doesn't talk about it, because they haven't gotten the memo from Nancy Pelosi. I don't know if y'all remember this, but Nancy Pelosi said, this was maybe a year or 2 years ago, Nancy Pelosi went on the front of the podium and she said that the media, and she literally said this, I'm like, wow, she's actually sitting there saying this, that the media will only say stuff that we send them. And then after the media will, say these lies that they put out there, then they will come back and confirm the lies that the media has been putting out there. And that's how they change the narrative. She actually was saying this on national television. But because they censor so much and they prevent people from seeing the truth, a lot of people don't know that she actually said that. I know I got the video archive somewhere. I know I got it somewhere. I have to just see if I can look it up and maybe one day play it again. But it's just the point that we're living in the day and age what the Bible was talking about, and so many people still want to ignore what is happening, what they see, what they're seeing. And again, it goes to that whole thing. You see that some people, and I'm not talking about you, the viewers here. Y'all, I'm willing to bet y'all know somebody who fits this description. You show them the truth. You tell them the truth, and they still believe the lie. I know y'all know somebody. We all do, because we're living that day and age right now. We're living where we're seeing that happen right now. We're seeing it happen right now. All right, let me say thank you to a couple people before I bounce out of here. I want to thank everyone again. Thank you so much. I know with the economy happening right now, I know things are just really different right now. And I want to say thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. I mean, every little bit helps. I don't complain because I understand it's a blessing. And because of your support, I'm able to come and do this every day because of your support. April, thank you so much for the stars. I really appreciate it. Kathy, thank you for the stars. David, thank you. Nancy, thank you. Solomon, if I'm saying it right. Laura, thank you for the stars. Michelle, thank you. Sharon, thank you. Chuck, thank you. Kelly, thank you. Karen, thank you. Ruby, thank you. Wow. Ann, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. All right, I think that's it. Hey, if you find it in your heart, please go to uniteamericafirst.com and support me there. uniteamericafirst.com. Or if nothing else, if you're saying that, you know what, I can't right now, which I completely understand, and you say that you would like to, hit the share button. Hit the share button. Copy the link to the share button. Share it on your page if you don't mind, because I didn't say anything I showed you what was happening, what they're saying, right? Share it. If you don't want to share it on your personal stuff, copy the link and text it to somebody. Text it to somebody that you can have an open conversation with, someone who you know loves America. Copy the link and say, hey, check this out. How many of y'all don't have accounts on True Social yet? How many of y'all don't have accounts on Rumble? How many of y'all don't have accounts on Getter? See, there's a lot of people on Facebook and YouTube. Create your accounts on these other platforms. I'm live right now on Spreely. Create your free accounts. Create your free accounts. And see, I know the big tech companies don't like me saying that, but the way they're doing this, I don't understand. There's a lot of people saying, Will, you need to get on Rumble. And I say it all the time. I'm live on Rumble right now. I say it all the time. I've even created a page called UAF, like y'all see it right there, UAF.media. You type in www.uaf.media and it shows you all the platforms that I'm currently on. And I've asked multiple people, I said, go there and check it out. Let me ask y'all right now. I'm going to ask right now, how many people we still have watching on here right now, real quick before I go? All right. Oh, okay. On Facebook, we have just over 400 people. Okay. Out of all of y'all, I mean, maybe 20 people might do it. I've asked people, to do this in the past, and just very few people do it. It's not like I'm asking you to do something really difficult. I'm just wanting you to go to www.uaf.media, uaf.media, and go check it out. Look at all the different platforms that I'm currently on, and let me know. It's like, well, I don't understand it, right? I've asked people to go to that for, I think, a couple years now, right? I've asked people to go to it. So if you don't understand it, let me know so I can try to, make some changes on it so it'll be more understandable. All right. But anyways, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for being with me. I greatly appreciate all the blessings. Thank you so much for all your support. I know there's people on Rumble and Getter right now as well. And Spreely, I want to thank all of you so much. Thank you so much for being here. All of you on YouTube and Facebook, because I know you became accustomed to being there and you have family and friends there. I get it. I'm on there too right now with you, right? So thank you, everybody. God bless. See you on the flip side. Reality check.